One question for Nebraska football this year that might matter more than all of the rest of them combined. And that is, will Dylan Raiola take that sophomore leap after starting last year as a true freshman? There's plenty of indication that he will. First and foremost, his five-star pedigree and what we saw from him in high school. There are some things that we saw him struggle with last year as he adjusted to his first year in college football that we saw he's capable of doing from his high school film. So there's a couple things there, particularly deep ball accuracy that I think is just going to improve from his experience. But there's another part of this equation that I think matters just as much, and that's Dana Holgerson. I looked back with producer from Herd Out Sports Live, Austin Jacobson, through some of the stats of former quarterbacks that Dana Holgerson has had throughout his coaching career. And what I found and what Austin found was very, very interesting. And that is, if you just take pure numbers, take the average amount that quarterbacks improved under Dana Holgerson after not having him for their first year, the numbers are pretty staggering. Let me give you an example of some of those quarterbacks. Case Keenum, Geno Smith, Skylar Howard, Will Greer, Clayton Tune, and Donovan Smith. Those guys, including a few guys that ended up in the NFL in Keenum, Smith, and Will Greer, are going to be able to give a good example of what improvement under Dana Holgerson in Dylan Raiola's second year can look like. And here's what we found out. Projecting the average improvement from those quarterbacks from year one to year two, Dylan Raiola looks like he might throw for nearly 4,000 yards, complete about the same amount, 68% of his passes, go over 20 touchdowns, and keep the interceptions about the same. Now, there's one part of this equation that we can't really account for because only one other quarterback Dana Holgerson has had was going from a true freshman starter into a second year, as well as adding Dana Holgerson into the offense. And that's Case Keenum. And the numbers on Case Keenum's improvement are staggering. First and foremost, he went from 14 touchdowns as a true freshman, very similar number to Dylan Raiola's, by the way, to 44 touchdowns the very next year. Now, I'm not saying you should expect 44 touchdowns from Dylan Raiola. What I am saying is Case Keenum might be the best case study for the improvement that we might see from Dylan from year one to year two. Here's the other thing to remember. I named 3 NFL guys that are on that list. It's entirely possible Dylan is the most talented quarterback that Dana Holgerson has ever had the chance to work with. That needs to be factored into the equation as well. So we gave you a little math to get you in the neighborhood of what we might expect from Dylan this year, but there's also some outliers like Case Keenum and some of the other NFL quarterbacks that Dana Holgerson's worked with that could indicate an even bigger season from the second year Nebraska quarterback.